Doing good. Let me start with this question. Where's the hate? Is there hate yet between these franchises? You know, we've had to make new shelf space for a new rival that had been an afterthought for so long. But having beaten the Packers for the last 5 meetings, there ought to be some hate going on here.
A little, I got to admit, I don't feel it. I don't have it for the Lions or their fans. I don't, man. I like Dan Campbell. I do remember how pitiful they were for such a long time. So, look, they're building up some hate. There's no doubt. The fan base, they think all of a sudden they're the thing, and there's no other thing in the world other than their thing. And I get it. They're not used to winning. They're not used to having a successful football team. So things like yesterday, where a discussion online about the coach of the year, and I just made the kind of observation that Matt LaFleur continues to get short shrift just in the conversation. I'm not saying he's better than every other coach, but he should be in the conversation. And one uppity Lions fan comes in and goes, well, Dan Campbell completely changed the tenor and the tone around the line, completely changed the culture. I'm like, yeah, 3 years ago, we're talking about the 2024 Coach of the Year award. This is what I mean. They're just not used to it, Zabe. They're not used to these heady conversations we normal folks with a winning football program are used to having.
The light bulb just went off for me. The reason that we're still waiting on the kind of same level of hate for Bears and Vikings is that the fan base is slowly ramping up to feeling confident enough now to start talking some mess.
That's exactly
that the origin, the original swamp of all hatred between teams is always with the fans. That's where you get the real
naturally. No doubt. That feeds into the players and they feed off of it. Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah, but do you think the Packers live in the Lions' head? Because you could see by the T-shirt St. Brown wore. I think it's still that. I do think, and I think the Packers maybe not so much, but I do think the Packers live in the Lions' heads.
I think the transition from Rodgers to Love has been significant in that it happened right when the Lions got good, right? Like there are still guys in that Lions locker room who reference a interview with Rodgers from years ago where he said, we lost to that. We can't lose to that team, referencing the Lions and how bad they had been, etc. They've held on to that. Like they have used that as fuel. And I do think, to your point, Amon-Ra St. Brown himself was on his podcast talking about how awful Green Bay fans are. I love that. That's phenomenal.
Really?
Oh, because did poor baby get some beer poured on him when he jumped into stands? Oh, poor guy. I mean, yes. See, that's the foment that hate. I love that. That's what it's all about right there.
Did Rodgers say that after the 2 goal line interception game they lost 15-9? Was that where he said we can't lose to that team?
Yes, when they moved the ball all day and he tried to hit David Bakhtiari and threw an interception to Hutchinson. It was after that. It was post-game.
Yeah, well, why are you throwing to a lineman? That was stupid.
That's a whole other story.
What do you think happened last year when out of the blue, the Packers just sort of meandering through a lost season with injuries that should have rendered them less potent than they were, rose up and punched the living crap out of the Lions on Thanksgiving Day at their place? What happened in this building in your mind last year? Because that was a pleasant shock to me.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is they executed. You know, that you go, funnily enough, I just rewatched the game last night, and you're looking at it, and right out of the gate, Christian Watson grabbing that bomb on the very first play of the game, something that had been a narrative. Like, Love had been trying to get him deep all season long. They hadn't connected, and then boom, right out of the gate, it happens. And Watson had a great day that entire game. I mean, 2 touchdowns, beating guys out of the slot, everything that was thrown to him, he was catching. And that's just one aspect. The other thing that's kind of fun to look at in that game and trying to project to tomorrow night, A.J. Dillon had a game in Detroit last year. And now you look and you've got a much better running game. You've got Josh Jacobs, a much better running back. That's the key here. I mean, that's where you got to play keep away, because as banged up as they are on defense, that should lean into the Packers' strengths as far as they want to run the ball. They want to possess the ball. I don't think they can stop the Lions on offense. I think that was a big component last year, is getting to Goff and turning it over. Goff had 2 fumbles. They took the one away and ran it in for a touchdown early. That set the tone. They pounced early. That's how they've won these last 2 games against the 49ers.
And that was also the game where Rashawn Gary basically got paid, right?
He came to life. No question about it.
Yes.
Now, he's trending the right way. For all the hand-wringing earlier this season, he has played extremely well over the course, basically since the bye week. So if he can continue to ramp it up and maybe, have one of those multi-sack games on Thursday night, then hopefully that should result in a turnover and an extra chance for Love and company.
All right, so let's play the other side of this. Let's say they lose. Do you think that changes the momentum, the trajectory of where the team is going? Because I love the trajectory right now, and it worries me because now all of a sudden the division's gone. You lose, the division's gone. Like you're not getting that. You're now looking at 6 or 5 seed, which is a tougher path. It also changes the focus of what you're playing for at the end of the season. Yes, you're still playing for playoffs, but not the division. So how do you think this team digests that if that is something? Yeah, especially where they're going in the trajectory, right? Because you have to be playing your best football in the playoffs.
That's the key, right? You still have 4 games after this, right? And
exactly.
I think as hard as it is to swallow the idea that they could lose and that would suck, they still got time. You look at last year. They had these 2 awesome games against the Chiefs and Detroit Lions, and then they go to New York, and everyone's thinking, oh, this is going to be a fun beatdown in prime time, and then they lose to the Giants, right? And you got to kind of reset everything. I don't expect that to happen, but you do on the outside probably readjust what your expectations are, what you think they can do. But I think internally, we actually talked about, Billy and I talked to AJ Dillon about this yesterday. Even if you lose this game tomorrow night, this is not the game you want to win. You want to beat Detroit the 3rd time you play them.
Yes.
In the playoffs. And so, yes, you 1,000,000,000% expect to win this game. But it is still just a stepping stone on your journey towards the ultimate goal, which is to win the Super Bowl. Don't forget, and I know I don't have to tell you, they were a 6th seed last time they won the Super Bowl. They have got to control what they can control, hopefully win this game. But if they do lose it, it's not the end. They can still accomplish what they want to accomplish.
All right. Josh Jacobs, is he the best running back? Is he the best free agent signing since Reggie White? Not as good as Reggie. Since
right now. I still got to give it. I got to give that title to Charles Woodson for the time being. Still,
okay. Sorry, Woodson.
I will say though, say it's a hell of a debut. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Right. He has maybe not single-handedly, because obviously the offensive line has a large part in this, but he has almost single-handedly changed their identity on offense and or maybe even throughout the team. We're talking, I can't move now for content being created around the Green Bay Packers, both on the local and national level, where people are talking about the physicality of the Green Bay Packers. When was the last time you heard that?
Smash
in conjunction with the Green Bay Packers. I'm thinking 1960s, right? Certainly for everything Mike Holmgren did and that Super Bowl victory in 96, everything Mike McCarthy did, the Super Bowl in 2010, they were never called a physical team, ever. They were always a finesse team. Oh, they do it on the technical side of things. Obviously, the passing game was always very exciting, and it ran through the quarterback. It goes through the running back now, and it goes through the offensive line, and that permeates throughout the team. I think the defense is more physical than we've seen it in a long time, but that starts with their identity on offense, which is we're firing off the ball. They're running a ton of power. That's the other thing. This is not a zone running team anymore. They've been a zone running team for 20 years. They're a power running team, and Josh Jacobs is single-handedly driving that. To that end, he's been an insanely significant pickup.
All right, I got a couple rat-a-tats that I want a Holmgren quarter in your jukebox, and then if there's any time left, I had just one small nickel on Wicked because I saw it. I wanted to compare notes with you.
Yes,
so
sir.
Just 2 minutes on that. Real quick, are the wide receivers happy, do you think, on this team?
Yeah, I think they are. I know the drama around Dobbs earlier this season and everything about, well, they don't have a number one and nobody ever gets kind of consistent production. I think they are. I think behind the scenes that they're in a really good spot.
All right. Is Detroit a dirty team?
No, No. I see Packers fans posit this all the time. No. They play to the echo of the whistle. They play the way I wish my team would. No, they're not at all.
But Ndamukong Suh was dirty.
Oh, 100%. Now that was a dirty play.
Correct.
Okay. Is LaFleur Sember a thing? LaFleur Sember.
Sure. If Jordan Love and Toyotathon is a thing, then I guess, yeah.
I was going to say, which do you believe in more, right? LaFleur Sember or Jordan Love?
Toyotathon is like the numbers are there. You can't deny
the numbers
it.
Are there.
It's just
exactly.
Its existence is pure and bared out by the numbers, obviously.
Okay. Mike Holmgren, a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a coach. Your thoughts?
Absolutely beyond time. It's well deserved. And I've got Giants fans in my mention talking about Tom Coughlin. I've got people talking about all sorts of other guys. I'm like, man, this guy took 2 teams to a Super Bowl. He would have won that second one and become the first coach ever to win one with 2 different teams if that contest had been fairly officiated. I won't get into that. But you look at his coaching tree, you look at everything he did, not just as the coach of the Green Bay Packers, but even before that with the quarterbacks in San Francisco, who were pretty darn good, by the way. As an offensive coordinator there. What's that?
Is Sterling going to get in?
God, I hope so, man. I do think there's enough groundswell at this point that people understand, the people being the selectors and the senior committee. I think they understand how good he was and how deserving he is, especially when you compare his numbers to guys who are already in the Hall of Fame. That's what blows my mind. There are guys like you're talking about Irvin, Lofton, and there's no shade to those guys, but none of them did what Sterling Sharp did when he was playing. Leading the league in touchdowns, leading the league in receptions, setting the reception record, and then breaking his own record the next year. I mean, he was a man among boys. He was absolutely dominant at a time when there were a million great wide receivers. He was as good, if not better than all of them.
All right. Well said on both. Wicked, I saw it last week with the family. It's going to win Best Picture. It's beautifully done. Incredible stuff all over the place. No dispute there, right? It's going to win Best Picture, right?
I doubt it wins Best Picture, but it will be nominated and it will win a bunch of awards. Of that, I have zero doubt.
The stage production is second in all-time money-grossing productions. It's a monster. It's Lion King 1, Wicked 2, Phantom of the Opera 3. I get fascinated at the backstory about how it comes to be. So in 1900, Butchie, old Frank Baum writes The Wizard of Oz, which becomes an American iconic classic. It's made into a movie, just the original story in 1956 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. In 1995, a guy by the name of Greg McGuire writes a book called Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which was a take on, how did the Wicked Witch of the West get to where she was? Interesting sort of prequel thought about it. This composer, Stephen Schwartz, gets the book and says, I could write some songs about this. This could be a stage production. So he goes to the book writer, McGuire, and says, I want the rights to your book for stage. And he said, no problem, but I've already sold the movie rights to my book to Universal. Then Schwartz goes to Universal and begs them, please don't make a movie about this book on the prequel of Wicked. I want to make it a stage production. Now, you would have thought, wouldn't you, Nags, that a major studio would have told this guy, this composer,
told him to kick rocks? Yeah.
Exactly. But basically, Schwartz begged him. And somehow some smart person at Universal said, okay, we'll hold off. Go do your stage play. Go do your musical, and let's see how it goes. And what a brilliant move by Universal, because it let Wicked become the thing that it is. Now Universal comes in with the movie, and they're going to make all the monies.
It's going to make $1 billion, Abe. It's going to make $1 billion. It
Billions
is a
of dollars. The movie
entertainment. Yes. Correct.
Well, it is, and the movie is only the first half. There's another one coming out.
Exactly. Well, and Universal is now off the hook for passing on Star Wars. There you go. See, this is the redemption arc.
There you go. There you go. That backstory stuff fascinates me. That was at dinner after we saw the movie as a family. I was like, okay, how did this come about? And I thought the story was quite interesting. But yeah, it's how it works sometimes. The most genius pieces of art and pop culture merchandising and juggernauts come out of kind of luck and just
Well, and someone along the line making a good decision and actually having some foresight rather than needing something immediately and making a quick
right time, right place too. Though
that's a lot of that, a whole lot of that. Butch.
Will your kids, Butchie, see it? They're a little young.
They're a little young for that, so might see if I could sneak my wife out. Type deal.
There you go.
Those things.
You guys
Next, do you
think
he should take his kids to go see it? It's
fine. How old are the kids, Butch? I don't even know.
5, 3, or 5, 4.
Oh yeah, no. Definitely not.
Yeah,
I think the
scenes.
I was just going to say the genesis of the monkeys, flying monkeys alone will send them to nightmares. So I would say no on that one.
All right. You don't make predictions on games, do you?
Oh, Packers are going to win. Packers are going to win. It's going to be a close one. I made a prediction yesterday with Billy. Billy has them winning by 2 scores. I'm not quite there. I'm thinking it's a close one. I got the Packers 27-24.
I think it's going to be a war. I think the Lions are ready this time. They got caught flat-footed last Thanksgiving, so they're ready. They're
no question. No doubt.
Whole new set of calls after Jahmyr Gibbs. Ding dong. All right.
Have to as always, those code words, guys.
That's right. Change the codes. Cheeseheadtv.com, your one-stop shop for all things Packer. Content 24/7, 365. Thank you, Nags.
Thanks, boys. Talk to you next week.
All season long, our Packer
We probably got the same amount of sleep. That's the thing.
Nah, maybe. I mean, I got to bed. Once I got to Indianapolis, I fell asleep maybe about 1:30, and then I was up at 6. So, no, you win.
Maybe
where,
not. No. 3:30 to 5:30.
Where are you?
Maybe not.
Where are you right now? Oh, by the way, for the record.
I am in the O'Hare Airport, and I depart for State College in, I don't know, roughly 30 minutes.
Okay, very nice. Well, at least, see, the thing is, you don't have to be driving. You got to be at rapt attention, or at least close enough attention to not die. For long stretches of time.
So here's my question. You're the leader of this show, but here's my question. If you're on a long drive, what are you listening to? What are you doing?
Well, he was watching highlights of Wisconsin, Michigan on his phone.
Okay. Well, hopefully not watching too intently, more listening.
Mounted safely to his windshield.
Yes. And then I had Washington, UCLA on afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you don't have to watch. You can listen to the announcers as much as you wanted to hear what was being said about the game.
Yep.
Because he came to the show this morning with a full detailed breakdown of why Michigan was able to go into the Kohl Center and win.
I get it. Totally get it. I'm going to be watching that game later tonight.
Yes. And now here's a live sound. Here's a live look in at Butchie's Father of the Year points race right now as it's going on. I mean, just racking up the points. Look at this. Tooth Fairy, Mom's birthday. Bing, 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 bing.
It's what we all do. It's part of life.
Where are you in the leaderboard?
Right there, buddy. Way to go.
Yeah. Where are you in the leaderboard?
It's what we all do. That being said, it is what it is.
Top 10?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Stock watch is high. I'm buying futures on it.
Okay. So you're done with football now. The committee has come out with its second to last ranking. Do you get in the weeds opinion-wise about what the committee is doing, or do you try to stay above the fray?
I try and stay above the fray, but I will say that I have, having called games for the top 9 teams this year multiple times. I mean, I feel pretty good about where they are. I think that the system is what it is. This is year 1. It's probably going to have some tweaks here and there moving forward, but I think the committee did a pretty good job. And you got some really, dare I say, spicy matchups in that first round too. If all things go as it is right now, a couple of those teams are going to lose just because of who they're playing next week. But I think you're in line for some really fun matchups this week.
Yeah. I said the problem is there's too many easily assembled arguments from a bunch of separate Lego pieces of strength of schedule, head-to-head, conference, etc. that people will put these together like Lego bricks and go, see, this is why they're idiots. There's too many factors to consider, and so therefore there's always going to be an argument for something, right?
Sure. I mean, Brian and I were having this conversation just about analytics yesterday, and it's more, you can make those things say whatever you want them to say. You just have to create the narrative. So you can make an argument for whatever you want to make an argument for if you just want to argue. But for me, I mean, it's just get the best matchups you can. Where the teams that deserve it to be in, and there will be a team like a James Madison from last year that's left out. But I understand someone's always going to be left out. It doesn't matter if it's 12 teams or if it's 16 teams or if it's 25 teams, whatever it is, someone's always going to get left out.
Yeah, and that's, like you said, we were talking analytics with it, Jeff, and I think, again, you're going to have this in sports. It is what it is. We were talking analytics with baseball. You said it's starting to ruin the game more and more. Well, I'll tell you what would ruin the game the most is the golden bat rule. Please tell me you've heard about it. And please, give me, Mr. Baseball Guy, tell me about the golden bat rule and your thoughts on how dumb this is. Hopefully you think that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is silly. It's basically you can throw up you throw your best hitter in there at any time in the lineup to face a pitcher at any specific time. So a batting order makes no difference. So it takes the batting order conversation strategy would just out of proportion. It doesn't even make sense anymore.
Hold on. One time, hold on. Before, because some people may still not have heard this.
Correct. Yeah.
and they may think it's an April Fool's joke or an onion story. No. Rob Manfred, the commissioner, said in an interview, hey, there's a lot of buzz amongst the owners about a proposed, but not even proposed, but a discussed possible rule change that would allow a golden at bat one time per team per game. You can send any batter you want to the plate regardless of batting order. That's all he said. It was just like a garter tease of a burlesque dancer pulling up her long dress to go, hey, look at this. And people instantly started having questions, Levering, such as, if Soto strikes out, you're going to send him back to the plate? So if Judge is on second, does he leave second for a pinch runner to go to the plate and hit again? Like, my head hurts. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now that I've set the table.
I mean, Rob Manfred is saying he's talking about buzz, and he's not saying whether it's good buzz or if it's like, you are freaking crazy. So it could definitely go either way. I just think that baseball's in a pretty good spot. We had the pitch timer has done a really, really good thing for Major League Baseball, bringing fans back and speeding things up. And it's a fun product right now. And even the extra inning rule, people were all up in arms about that, but I dig it too. The players love it. They don't want to play 18 innings. But I think if it makes the bigger market teams, the teams that have an Ohtani or a Judge or a Soto, whoever that ends up being, have an even bigger advantage. Look at, if you're the White Sox and you have the golden at bat, who are you putting up there?
I don't know.
What are we doing? For the Marlins, who are you putting up at the plate? It does those teams no good.
Yeah. Also, I just don't know why the commissioner even says these things. Let it be formally proposed by committee before you even utter such a thing, because it then makes people think that you have no feel or sense of what the game is. Because the game is not just, hey, here's a silly rule, let's put it in play. It's a batting order exists to navigate through, right, Jeff, as your opposing team and pitchers. How do we get by this guy? And the beauty of coming up in a big spot, if you're a lesser hitter, is if you get a hit, it's the greatest thing of your life, right?
Right. It's a big deal. And it's such great strategy, too, for managers and for coaching staffs to figure out, okay, who's available in the bullpen, who's not available in the bullpen, who's your starting pitcher? How can we get through this ball game and have my best hitters at the plate when it matters the most? If you wanted your best hitter to hit in the number 7 spot because that spot is coming up in a big situation, you're going to hit that guy 7, right? What's the point of hitting first, second, or third? But your 7th hitter is going to have a really big at-bat at some point in life. Everybody wants to have that opportunity to be a hero too. So I'm just not a big fan of the proposed situation of the golden batter rule. It just sounds corky.
I'm also not a big fan of how loud that announcement at O'Hare is. I mean, my God, you must be right under a speaker right now. And she cannot get to the point. Just say we're boarding in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Leave it at that.
Well, I mean, she is motoring through this thing, and it's not even my gauge. I feel like this is from the Z terminal, and I'm an F. This is freaking terrible.
She's still going. Still going.
And still going. And still going.
We're done. Oh my God.
She stopped. All right, perfect. Then I can ask you this question. You have Penn State, Purdue. You had Indiana yesterday. You got Penn State, Purdue tonight. But then you also have Marquette, Wisconsin, college basketball. You've called a couple of them. What are you looking forward to in that game the most?
I think for Purdue, Penn State, I'm really looking forward to the tempo because Penn State's going to want to fly. They want to go up and down the floor. How is Purdue going to deal with that? Trey Kaufman-Renn is on an unbelievable burner right now. So I'm excited for that one tomorrow. Marquette, Wisconsin is such a fun game. I had the honor calling it a couple of years ago at Marquette. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. You got 2 teams that are in the top 11. I know Wisconsin lost yesterday. Marquette's playing Iowa State tonight. So you potentially have both teams coming off of a loss. So we'll see. But I love the matchup. I love how Wisconsin's playing these days. Marquette is just so fun to watch.
Yeah. The game's going to be on ESPN Plus tonight. And there's a lot to be said about that. None of it.
Yeah. How's that game on ESPN Plus? Come on.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right,
yeah.
Jeff, we're going to let you go. By the way,
let me go to me a check for this. Please get along with the date so we can really to it. Talk to hands weekend.
Is that what I sounded like, or was that?
No, you were a pro. You were a pro's pro.
Yeah, and then he has to work with guys like me, so it's fine. Not finally get 2 pros on Thursday and Saturday.
And a cup of Joe.